Greetings, friends. This is Elizabeth Schermer with a message for the Gemini new moon, which occurs on Friday, May 22nd at 10:39 a.m. We are receiving an infusion of health and well-being with this new moon. Opportunities to connect to new levels of holism and confidence and trust through our ability to connect with nature and the universal laws of harmony that sustain us. This will be a really welcome infusion for all of us, and for those of us who are holding space for healing for our collective, as well as for our families and friends. This will be a really welcome month with an opportunity for new understandings of health and new memories and remembering of how it is that our bodies and the natural world really sustain us. So I'll say a little bit about the chart, which shows this quality of health and well-being through the power of nature and the power of our bodies. The new moon is here, and the new moon is at 3 Gemini. I'll say a little bit about what that specific configuration is in a minute. But in general, it's about connecting to a new awareness of and a new understanding of how we really are supported by the laws of harmony and the laws of health and well-being in the natural world. And that has to do with these beautiful trines that go to the conjunction of Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn. And so the spiritual quality of Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn is an understanding of how we connect to the deepest qualities of nature and health and well-being. And that's the strongest aspect of this new moon, is this new depth of well-being. There's another significant aspect, is a direct conjunction of Venus and Mercury in Gemini. And so there's a awareness with Venus and Mercury in Gemini. Let me just drop in and get the feeling. There's both a mental and an emotional connection to new realizations, the ability to make positive changes and new connections to what well-being truly means and truly is. I made a note here about it. A connection to emotional power and a desire for positive change, and a quality of an infusion of both the mind and the heart together, bringing us to new awarenesses of hopeful opportunity. And that is reflected in a couple of other aspects in the chart. A strong signature of hope, and the belief and the faith and the strong feeling of inspiration for positive change. So I'll say a little bit about the cards and how they're connected to this new moon. So as you can see on the altar, I have the 3 cards for the Gemini moon, and the first is the Lovers, which represents your connection now. The Lovers is about coming into new relationship with yourself and new relationship in all aspects of your life. The Lovers is the quality of Gemini that desires to come into relationship with the whole world by exploring and discovering and experiencing on a deep level. Gemini loves contrast. Gemini explores the world by finding out how things work, and that's through the discovery of what is different and what's the same. So this is a very welcome infusion. This ability to explore contrast is welcome right now, because there's so much need to resolve opposition and to resolve confusion and to resolve conflicting narratives. So there's a strong energy right now for reconciliation of opposites, and the inspiration to look for what kinds of understanding can lead to unity. And that's a big part of Gemini. The Knight of Swords is the court card for Gemini, and the Knight of Swords has some very powerful messages for us right now. The knight is on his horse. If you can see the colors, there's a golden and a green quality to his armor. And that's the reminder of the importance of us connecting to our heart and our mind. Gemini is an air sign, mutable air, and it has to do, air is our breath, and it's the life that comes to our minds when we breathe life, breathe air into our minds. It's what our, it's the in imagination and intuition and clear thinking, critical thinking, as well as our intellect. So the shadow side of the mind is the disconnection of the intellect from the heart. And so this is a reminder, this moon is a reminder and an opportunity to make a new and stronger connection between your mind and your heart so that you can really experience a deeper understanding through your explorations and your new insights and new discoveries. And that's emphasized. Oh, another teaching I love about the Knight of Swords that also has to do with this quality of higher mind is that he is rising up above his circumstances. There are 4 propellers. There are 4 wings on his propeller that signal a very grounded quality to the elevation. This is important. And then the ability to rise above to get a higher view, to step out of your own preconceptions of what you think reality is so that you can see from a higher vantage point and learn from perhaps points of view that you hadn't considered before. And that's emphasized in the Minor Arcana card, which is the 8 of Swords. Now this is called interference. And so it's technically what we would call a bardo card, meaning a card that signals a form of challenge. When we come to these cards as part of the natural cycle with the sun, what happens is the healthy aspects of the 8 of Swords are activated now, which is in the 8 of Swords interference. The shadow side represents over-analysis and the tendency to get caught up in all the details of life, all those various swords, instead of the 2 strong swords of balance. And so the opportunity now is to be able to look at all the details of life without getting lost or mired or bogged down in them, and to appreciate the beauty and the complexity of circumstances. So those are the some of the themes for right now within the Gemini new moon. And so now we will dive into the spread, to the reading. Let's see. Take these cards away and we'll have the first card in the center. The card for mind is the Hermit. And the Hermit represents you on your path. So when I pull these cards, let me just say my intention was to ask for a spread that will help each of us connect with our wisdom and with our own inner knowing and our inner guidance and our health, our understanding of health and wholeness, and how we can participate in health and healing for ourselves and also for the collective. Oh my gosh, thunder there was just a peal of thunder. That's an amazing synchronicity with our message. So that we can transcend fear and connect to the health and the well-being that is a natural part of the intelligence of life, the intelligence of our bodies and the intelligence of nature. The Hermit is guided by the sun, which is the lamp that he carries. This represents you on your path of wisdom. And the sun, your inner guidance, is what illuminates your way. There's a strong synchronicity here with the Lovers card, because in the marriage of the lovers, the Hermit is presiding, is the being presiding over the marriage. And that represents that all our journeys of exploration in the world, including our desire for union with ourselves and others, is all from our own higher self and our own path toward the return to ourself. And so this is a signal. The fact that we received the Hermit as the center of our spread is a signal that this month with this new moon, you can commit to a new sense of connection with your inner guidance system, that you can trust your guidance. That's what I'm really being shown right now, that this is a month to hold curiosity and eagerness and commitment to receiving new confidence and new clarity as you trust your own guidance and your inner authority on your path moving forward. That's the biggest key right now. That's emphasized beautifully in the Six of Swords, science for the position of circumstances and the physical body and life around us. The Six of Swords is called science, and it represents, I call it the sacred geometry card. It represents a new level of understanding of the way that of the universal laws that create harmony. This is the specific signature for the new moon chart, a new understanding of health and the way that all of our circumstances are connected through the laws of nature and the laws of holism. And the message that's coming through right now about the Six of Swords is to remember, because this is coming in the position of circumstances, remember the Hermit is saying to trust your guidance, ask for new clarity about your ability to follow your path of truth and highest purpose, which is the sun guiding you. And the guidance that's coming in right now with the Six of Swords in circumstances is that remember that you see in your life what you expect to see. Look for order, look for harmony, ask to see the patterns that are underlying your life and underlying your path forward and underlining the ways that you can contribute right now, how to make clear decisions, how to discern from confusing or disparate facts, how to be compassionate, truly compassionate to others, how to hold good boundaries so that you can show up and hold space for others without losing your own balance. All of that is embedded in the Six of Swords. Remember, you see what you expect to see. Look for order, look for harmony, ask for support in finding the congruence. And remember that the highest qualities of Gemini are in that connection between the mind and the heart. Through your breath and through your intention to bring down into your heart what has meaning for you. And that will help you see more clearly the way forward. And the final card, card for Spirit, is the Princess of Discs. And she is one of the key cards in the deck for health. So this is a message that indeed this is a spread about health and well-being. And she represents the quality of health from a place of inner trust and confidence and assuredness. She holds the Ace of Discs in her hand. She knows that everything is possible and that this is a card of new beginnings. She's pregnant, signifying the gestation of new opportunity and the trust in new beginnings and living from faith and living from the knowledge of abundant well-being being yours. And so in the position of Spirit, this is affirming the importance now of trusting in well-being, trusting in health, trusting in the power of life to sustain you, and in the flowering of new beginnings that are coming. So the next, I pulled another card, as I always do, to ask for something else to consider. And so interesting, the Eight of Swords came up, and it came up reversed. And so remember that I talked about the Eight of Swords as the minor arcana card for these first 10 degrees of Gemini. And this has to do with the ability to look at patterns and the interest and fascination in patterns right now, the ability to look at details and the curiosity to explore all of the qualities of life. And you can see this is represented in the card by all the different handles on the sword and all the different patterns. So the cautionary tale here is to keep big picture. Don't get locked in your head or too focused on analysis. or too stuck in your intellect. And the card came up reversed, which means a release of the pattern of over-analysis so that you can celebrate and relax into the harmony of things, which is represented by the Six of Swords, science. Because it was reversed and because of the importance of these new patterns of learning to bridge our hearts and minds to connect with our deeper truth. I was guided to pull one more card, and the card that came up in relationship with the Eight of Swords is the Four of Cups, and it's called luxury. What the Four of Cups represents is your strong heart. So this is an exclamation point of that Mercury-Venus conjunction, which is all about a fierce determination to show up. The actual Sabian symbol is of a revolution, of a rally, of people inspired to make changes, and it has to do with the inspiration to connect your mind and your heart because of the Venus-Mercury conjunction into making new fortunate changes that are based on hope and optimism and a deep connection to the wellness and to the wholeness and health that permeates all of life. So a very, very optimistic new moon, and there's just something coming in. Just a minute. The message from our guides is trust the momentum of growth and life. Trust your ability to participate in the health that holds this world together. One of the ways I like to think about gravity is the glue of love that binds us to this world. And that Princess of Discs is saying, trust the beautiful foundation of life that is growing within you and within our world. And trust your connection to nature. Those blue trines in the new moon chart going from the new moon to Capricorn to Pluto and Jupiter are saying there's a harmony right now. There's a strong feeling of harmony and a new understanding of the natural order, a new ability to participate. So look for order, look for harmony, ask for help in receiving your guidance on your path of highest purpose and harmony and well-being, and set that intention every day, and you will receive those blessings. And then you can be of service to extend those blessings to others. So we ask now that all this be received for each of us now and moving forward, that the blessings of this new moon be felt within each of us and unfold for each of us with ease and grace and joy and abundant well-being for the healing of ourselves and our world. Thank you for your participation in the message and helping to pull it forward. I wish you a really blessed new moon for you and your family and our world. This is Elizabeth Schermer and the Alchemy Mystery School.